We have Jasmine Nicole, who is an incredible artist.
Clap it up.
Clap it up. We have Curtis Smith, like he is like the celebrity barber extraordinaire. Some of the most famous cuts on some of your favorite artists. I ain't gonna say no names, some of them, but I'll let him do that. This man is responsible for, I will say one of the, I'll give it up one of your clients. So he is Puppy's barber. So some of his signature styles, and Usher, like the South of France, that's that man right there. You know, so that's pretty cool. We have Red Pill. I don't even know how to even take this. Like for real, because the list can go on and on. I mean, he's from a motivational speaker to just designer. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Stand up. You gotta show them. You don't need Gucci when you can get Kings County. I'm just saying, you know. So yes. So he's gonna be giving his, insight. You skip over me, I'm not important. We're gonna talk about rain. We have my partner in Elevation, who also creates these crowns, and this one happens to glow.
Yes. It's lit, literally.
It's literally lit.
I said lit, I mean literally lit.
Then she's also known as the Master Crown Maker. So the title, the slogan is, because every queen is not complete without her crown. So you go to a Master Crown Maker when you want to walk away with your crown. And speaking about a queen with her crown, we have the mother of all the mothers, Queen Afua, who has healed nations of people. Happy y'all know the people. Yes, she is the founder, creator of Sacred Woman. Just made trademark all things sacred.
Of mothers.
The mother of mothers. Yeah. Then we have. I keep telling this woman, I gush every time I talk about her. It is the truth. I've always been a fan of this lady. It's not funny. I think she's incredible. It's just an amazing artist. Have elevated and transformed into another type of amazing artist, healer in her own right, divine mother. So tomorrow for Mother's Day, she knows she got to be out of here, so I got to speed this up. And Miss Soleil. There we got the lovely, some people use that word enchantress, a voice that's just that's amazing. You hear it and you go, oh my God, who is that? But also a divine spirit, also a person who has not even involved in her own transformation, and I see bigger things in her future, especially when it comes to the healing arts, Miss Chrisette Michelle. And then we have my brother right here, who, once again, I said I had to call out when it came to working with the other brothers when it comes to our own healing, elevating us all so that we can be in a proper place where we are not toxic to the people that we come in contact with. The Heart Bodyguard. And I'm going to rock in, I'm going to sit down. She was trying to make me lay down. Y'all see that? So.
Give her a big round of applause.
Yes.
So, on this panel, we are here to answer y'all questions. But the first question that we would like to answer is, what would you do? How would you, trying to figure out how to phrase this.
Right, that's the question.
That's always the question.
Yeah, it's how you
The question is how do I ask the question?
Ask the question.
What would be, if you could could give somebody one advice for elevation, what would you tell them? Well,
You gonna
I didn't say I was talking with you.
Right, left.
So I would love to go, straight down, and that gives, all you see, y'all lucky, y'all get time to think about it, but she got to go now.
Hey, Jasmine.
Damn, me? Okay.
Yes.
What was the question?
See, Jasmine wasn't listening.
I was.
So,
Something about elevation.
yes, what would be your advice to the people in this room, how that they can elevate? There you go.
How to elevate.
Yes.
One piece of advice.
One piece of advice.
To me, the biggest elevation is within self first. I highly, highly, highly recommend your diet. Your diet literally controls your mind, your body, and your soul. If your diet is not right, you are not right. Your mind is not right, your body, your soul, nothing. Emotional health, everything is disrupted. So my first key to elevation is definitely diet. Look at what you're putting into your body. Make sure it's the right thing. Today I found out that Whole Foods is giving, what's it called? GMO bananas. If the stem is green, it's not right. The stem needs to be brown. All right. So just look into what you're putting into your body.
Thank you.
Elevation.
Mr. Smith.
Okay, so when I think about elevation, right, you have to think about happiness, okay? And you have to think about how your life and your fulfillments bring you happiness. Now, everybody says, business or money won't bring you happiness, right? But we all need to survive, right? So I think in order for us to try to elevate, we have to learn things, okay? And we have to learn things that's going to help us to move forward in our lives. Because what's happening is, we get stuck and we get happy with just being able to go to work and go home. And we're not thinking about the other things that's going on out there that we're not taking part in that we could use to elevate ourselves and our community. Okay? So I think it all starts with knowledge. And I think if everybody in this room have a desire to complete or accomplish something, okay, do the research to find out what it is that it takes to do that. And then start taking steps towards it. That's the only way I think you can elevate yourself.
Elevation speaks about rising above. So, in my humble opinion, to tap into elevation, all of us should be focusing on the fact that we need to rise above. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. That's a very special day. That day speaks about the energy that's very dominant on this planet right now, and that's the divine mother energy, the divine goddess energy. And people often say that energy never dies, and it's not just a slogan, it's not a catchphrase. You can look around this room and you can see the energy that the Queen Mother has touched, right? Many of the people in this room, when they met her, their energy was at a different level, but energy never dies. So through healing, through vibrating at a higher frequency, we have to rise above. We have to rise above our lower self. We have to rise above our, trauma. We got to rise above bad diets. We got to rise above the way that the society has painted our people in particular, because they want us to be at the bottom, but we have to elevate. We have to rise above the preconceived notions about who we are. And, the energy never dies. So Queen of Four is known for transforming energies. You dig what I'm saying? So look at where this movement is at today. Look at where the teachings have evolved and grown into. It has risen above the quote unquote bottom level because now this is mainstream. We live in a beautiful time. My PayPal don't stop ringing. You feel me? Like, my phone, what I'm saying? My phone won't stop ringing. The requests and the people that's reaching out, the people who turned their backs on me when I was telling them that I was elevating and they said I was crazy, their phone calls don't stop coming in because now they've realized that they missed the train. So that's what elevation is. Rise above.
I'll make mine really quick. And It's all about investing in self, knowing that you are worth every single investment in life. When you invest in yourself, every decision in your life will start to elevate, because you start to realize back, like I said before, you may find that you are too qualified for the position that you're in at the moment. So when you invest in yourself, then you are now able to see that you are worthy of even more. So that would take you to a whole nother level in life.
So speaking of elevating, the reason why I have balloons here, 100 balloons to be exact, is not only because they're beautiful and they're colorful and they float, but think about a balloon. The more weight you put on the balloon, you hold it down, right? So elevating to me is letting go and surrendering and letting go of all of the things that hold you back. Everything that does not further evolve you, letting go of that. Because the more you let go of society standards from your families, your friends, the people who are not, or anything that's not evolving you, whenever you let those things go, you float and you literally elevate more. So for me, is even not only just when it comes to family and friends and society standards, but when it comes to yourself. There are things that you have in yourself, there are expectations that you have that you still have to let go of to surrender to the Almighty, to the universe, to oneness, to God, to Goddess, in order for you to elevate. So the more you let go, the more you grow, the more you flow. So that's what elevation is to me, is surrendering and releasing.
I just want to say, Rain.
Thank you. Don't make me
Just like
smitten.
when I was younger, I was shy, extremely shy. But what happens is you're busted loose.
I'm shaking right now.
You can't keep it anymore.
No.
You have to give it up. And if you give it up, look at what you bring. So I just want to acknowledge that.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
It's a moment.
It's coming out. It's coming out.
I mean, so many things come to me, but what comes to me is mother and father. Forgive your mother right now and your father. I don't care what they did. I don't care how they did. They did everything that they knew that they could do with what they had to work with. Because that's our initial relationships. And if we don't heal those, then we married the same relationships. Keep cycling the same pain. So everyone tonight, before the night is out, say to your mother, your father, your parents have made the transition. Thank you.
It's just to think of one thing. There's so many ways to begin to elevate. So if I had to say one that I feel is most important, and that's to be love, to embody love, to become a walking emissary of love, because love is the most important growth-promoting frequency that we can have inside our bodies on a cellular level. If you study epigenetics and quantum physics, you understand that we can rewrite our genetics, and love is the most powerful thing that you can use to embody inside. And we know, as within, so without, as above, so below. And so inside on a cellular level, it helps us to heal physically, and then outside, becoming really a walking embodiment where we walk into every room being love. So we walk into a room and leave the space more beautiful because we came in more fragrant. When you walk in love that way, you leave people more beautiful and better than we met them. So thinking, when I walk in, am I leaving this sister better than I met her? Or am I coming in with an attitude and leaving her worse off than when I met her? And so I feel like becoming the embodiment of love, and especially for men and women, but especially for us as women, because the mother principle that you spoke about, though we're seeing her reemerge and the goddess reemerge, but it's still a lot of work to do in that aspect, and the mother is still not elevated back to her rightful status alongside the God and the goddess. And so once we're elevated to that status, but we have to do that work too as women by becoming love and tapping back into that real sensuousness, which is not sexualness, it's sensuality, which is things from our heart. Because that's an extension of a heart space. So being sensuous with each other in our touch. When I touch her and I touch her sensuously, and that has nothing to do with sexuality, it's from our heart. Our hands are the extension of our heart. So everything we touch with love, extending it from our heart. So walking in love, embodying love, being love, I think is the most important thing if we have to say one.
Yes.
Like everybody said, it is very difficult to bring it all into one thing. But one thing that really speaks loud to me is being okay with allowing your character to submit to the process. So a lot of times we've spent years building our character and becoming something and growing something and feeding something and sowing into something and investing into something because life takes work. Living in this love space takes real work, but then here comes life with this process. And so it doesn't mean that you don't have character, it means that your character has to be tested. So one of the main things that I've learned so far, and I'm 36 right now, essentially, right, is that if I'm okay with submitting my character to the process, then I can prove my character, not just to people, but also to myself and to my destiny. I can walk to the next level, but I sometimes your character does have to be proven with the process.
Okay, all eyes on me, huh? So my whole thing is I want to start out with everybody who's came here and participate. That just goes to show that y'all love yourselves. And I would like to say I appreciate and love y'all from the bottom of my heart. And from my aspect is that I come from a 5%ers background, aspect. So I go by the number 7. Number 7 is the universal number of perfection. And from that definition, it means your imperfections are your perfections. So that is my key. That is my key to the term elevation, because a lot of us we keep ourselves stagnant on the things that we consider imperfections. We have insecurities that we don't like to deal with. We keep on being like, we beat ourselves up and things like that. But the thing is, that's what makes you unique. You have to understand your individual path is your path for a reason. So your imperfections are your perfections. And see, this is why you continue to be better than your best, because when you reach your zenith, when you reach your perfect state, that's limitation. I don't believe in limitations. Just like the brother O said, I don't believe in limitations because due to the simple fact, if you believe in limitations, you stagnate yourself. And how you're supposed to better yourself if you're just right there, just being stagnant. I want to live rather than exist. A rock is a living aspect, but the thing is, it's grounded, it's stagnant. Me, I am a living entity. I can actually move and become what I manifest. So, again, the number 7, y'all, perfection. My imperfections are my perfections.
At this time, I'd like to open up the floor for questions. And how we're going to do that so we don't talk over each other is we go down the line. So you ask a question, and then each person will answer that same question. Is that, y'all good with that?
Or the question can be for a specific person.
Or the question, yeah, unless the question is for a specific person. Yeah, correct. So if you have any questions for anybody on the panel?
So my question is for you. And you talk very powerfully about imperfections, which is fantastic, because a lot of people push away aside their imperfections and they're trying to work on being, great and perfect and whatever it is. And so how do you embrace like your because how do you work on being that better person? How do you work on embracing things that society is telling you is wrong with you or something that shouldn't be so? Like, you know, whatever it is, a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on. So how do you make that, you know, how do you bring that close to you and embrace that and become one with it, become with it?
My number one thing to myself is, and this is why I tell the brothers in my Black Men's Healing Circle, is that communication is key. And it's not just to everyone else that's around you, but also to yourself. You have to actually speak to yourself and be like this, you know what? What are the things that are actually causing me to be sad, to be negative, and things like that? And when you actually start naming these things out, and a lot of people gotta understand, your words are rituals. Those are actually spells that you're putting out. So when you actually continue to speak on the negative aspects of yourself, guess what? You start to detach from your genuine self, then you have this alter ego self. And when you have this alter ego self, it will ruin your life because you don't have no control of yourself. You will actually see yourself doing all these negative and heinous aspects towards yourself and also towards your environment, and it's like this, damn, how am I supposed to control the wheel? You are the aspect of your own destiny, meaning that you have to gain the control, and that's all about communication. Now, I'm not saying that it's supposed to happen overnight, but you have to name the things that are negative and positive about yourself. And the thing is, when you actually see these things and you say to yourself like this, like, damn, I'm tired of it, I'm tired of it. You ever heard this saying, I'm sick and tired of being tired? You're like, everybody say, I'm sick and tired of being tired. But the thing is, what are you willing to do to communicate to yourself that I want to do better with self? And for me, that's what I worked on. I spent years being stagnant, feeling pathetic about myself, putting myself through the wire as far as not appreciating myself. And a lot of people, they look at me and they be like this, nah, I can't believe that was you. I'll be like this, oh, really? I was like this, listen, what you see now, it took a lot of self-work because I had to be open with myself. I had to talk with myself. I had to forgive myself. So that's my advice to you, sister.
As we all know, the process is hard. So how do you guys deal with the removal of people, and then you have that moment of being lonely because now you can't find like-minded people on the journey? So it's kind of hard to deal with the losses, I should say, as far as the people that are being removed, because you know that the universe is guiding you into a different direction. How do you guys deal with that when you're leaving people behind and you also have to search for people to connect with? Because it's so hard to connect with people nowadays. There's very few people that will understand your transformation.
I believe when you transform, you will attract those people.
Yeah. Right.
Likeness attracts. That's really all. Yeah, whenever you transform, the people that are meant to be in your life will be there. I went through a point where I was completely sedating myself from reality. And then I got with a person who introduced me to crystals and healing, meditation, and dream research. And after talking to that person and learning certain things about myself and the universe, I began to attract, it literally was one thing after another. So whenever you do transform, it will actually flow like water and unfold. Everything that's meant to be in your life will be in your life. And I think the part, that part of separation from letting go of what was to going to what needs to be is knowing that whenever you do transform to what needs to be, everything that needs to be will be, and whatever that's not meant to be will just fall off. And whenever you let it go, it will attract what is meant to be because you're letting go of what's not. I'm trying to figure out a way to say that. But it's really about becoming what you're meant to be to attract what it is.
I'm gonna add to that. You have everything in this room right now. Because you created it.
That's right.
Yeah, you prayed for healing. And when you pray for healing, you have to let go of something in order to go get the healing. My friend always says, you cannot just hold on to that breath forever, you have to let it go to get another breath. So don't hold on to the past when you get a whole other breath. It's coming into your life right now. If you look to your right or left, everything I always says in a circle. Ask for what you need. You want friends? Hug your sister next door to you. She's right here. It's all there. You know what we're seeking, we already called it to ourselves. So what you do with that is you say good things. And then your vibration goes up and you pull more life force into your being. Because to hold on to the past is death.
Yeah.
When it's time to let go, it's a way of dying. You hold on until an organ is removed. Your mind is, and so the quicker you can let go when it's time, then the higher you're going to grow, the quicker you're going to elevate. So about elevating.
Yes. I want to say real quick, and then these two brothers want to say something. You have to take the initiative to create the life that you want. Like I said earlier, if you're in a position or in a place that you are no longer comfortable at, make a decision to move from that. If it's not working for you, like the Queen just said, let it go. But it starts with you taking initiative. Unless, I want to speak straight from the heart. Unless
Let go.
I gotta let it go.
Come on.
Unless you are comfortable with being stuck and being perceived as the victim, say I'm not one that's comfortable with being a victim. So you have to take that initiative so you are not that. So always remember that. Like, wait a second, I'm not gonna be nobody's victim. I don't want nobody to look at me and say, oh my God, this person made the most dumbest decision. Why are you doing this? Sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to do everything in my power to put myself in better positions so I can attract exactly what is it that I want.
One of the things about when you get on your path, there's going to be something inside of you that's going to wake up. They call it the divine spark, right? And Dr. Sebi taught me when I was his age, and he's taught the world up to this day that we're electrical beings. So we apply the magnet theory to this path. And in the magnet theory, there's attraction and there's repelling. So when things don't serve your purpose, you're going to repel it with your energy, with your force. And then you're going to also draw things in that's going to be beneficial towards your path and your journey. And we all go through those phases of what is known as like seclusion or solitude, but it's almost akin to what the butterfly or the caterpillar goes through transformation, and the catalyst when it becomes the butterfly, there's a cocoon phase of you going inside of self. So there's going to be a phase where you're going to repel a bunch of people because you don't need a bunch of people, because it's about you at some point. You get what I'm saying? You're going to actually work on you. And then you'll grow those wings and you'll fly with those monarch butterflies, because remember, the butterflies go on trips. They leave the caterpillars behind and they travel across the world together to go ahead and see their blessings and whatnot. You know, they're not doing that in the hood. So prepare to grow your wings. Prepare to leave the caterpillars behind, because they'll follow you. They'll grow their wings later on down life. Like I said, my phone is ringing from people who turned their backs on me 10 years ago and said that we was crazy. Now they're on the wave. So don't focus on the now or the people. Remember, because if you're held back, there's certain energies that are hindering you. You have to repel that in order to attract that. Remember, you attracted this room. You created this room. I remember a time where this room was in existence. It was not, I'm sure Queen of Four remembers a time where this room wasn't in existence. So all of this is a manifestation. All of this is a creation. All of this is the magnetic pull of the divine spark of something that's going on inside of you. So that's what that is.
think that and I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound totally different, and it has to be a little balanced, I think, in my mind. So I think that in every relationship, there's a certain level of care that you have to give to it, right? And you ever hear a guy say something, and guys, I'm sure you can attest to this one. Yo, she crazy, man. But honestly, half the times it's not her that's crazy. It's us that made her crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens is, sometimes in relationships you enable people. You know, you don't tell them no when you're supposed to tell them no. You don't stop them when you're supposed to stop them. So then they grow into these habits, and then they start to think that everything's okay. But the problem is, you're not okay with it. So you start to grow resentment inside of you. Then you start to look at those people differently, like those people shouldn't be in my life. But what you really need to say to yourself also is, what is it that I can do to make this person fit better in my life? Because maybe there's something this person needs, okay? Sometimes you have a hater, people call a hater, right? Let me explain something to you. In the business that I do, I get a lot of that, right? You know what I do? I include them.
That's right.
I include them. Hey, I know that you just want to be a part of this. Why don't you come on down, let me hear your ideas, and let me try to get you involved in the situation. They become your biggest cheerleader.
That's right.
So the point I'm trying to make to you is that we have to kind of own up to some of these relationships and understand that we're spoiling people. You know, your kids are jumping over the chair. Why? It's not because they're bad kids. It's because you're doing bad parenting. Okay? You're doing bad parenting. You should have checked them the first time they tried that. But you let it go. You know, you ever see somebody come to the barbershop and they kid wilding out, and then the minute you say something to the parent, didn't I tell you to sit down? But you was there the whole time watching them. And you didn't say nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So we allow relationships to go out of control, and then when we feel we can't handle it anymore, we start to cut them off and say that they're toxic. You understand what I'm saying? Let's just practice a little more control.
So all of that right there.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
Where do I start? I guess when you said to thank your mother and your father, it made me realize that I still don't forgive my parents. I understand what they've done to me, especially my mom. You know, I understand that when I was in her womb, she put all of her dreams and aspirations that she wanted for herself into me, which is why I'm so strong, which is why, like, I'm powerful in my approach to everything that I do in life. But she makes me feel like shit sometimes, and I want to be like, you know, like, I want to have a good relationship with her. Like, recently, I decided to just, like, let her go, not cut her off, but, like, let go of, like, this like, overwhelming want of, like, I need her to be, like, my best friend so that I could be best friends with my daughter. I know I don't need that anymore, but I don't know how to let go.
You and your parents are actually you before you became the body, before you came through them. So you really came through them as a state of consciousness. That's what you are. So when you come through them, you say, it's your fault, you did this, you did that to me. It is where you were, that you had to learn the lessons you went through that family member. So now, instead of blaming them, it's all you. I always say it's all you. Take full responsibility for all your creation.
Yeah.
Then you have full power. Because when we get an A in school, we always take credit for that. Oh, that is me. I'm so great. And when you get a D, oh no, that was the teacher. That was my parents. That was somebody else. It was the traffic. It's all you. Your parents are you. So you have an opportunity to heal yourself in your family, your bloodline, and heal yourself. Because your mercy and your compassion. Look at one gift from the Most High, the culture of my eye. That was the heart. All your relationships are in your heart. Tomorrow, my mother, my heart. I'm in the heart of my mother, and my mother is in my heart. It's not a separation. It's actually a heart. So the more you do your exercise of self-love, and the same self-care, the more you will have mercy and compassion for your mother. Because what she went through, you don't know. She can tell you the story.
Right.
Because if you really know what she went through, what means the child of slavery does it for me? I have total mercy and love for all my parents and what they do. Because I know if any of us could survive that, Willie Lynch, divide and conquer, and grow to the level that we have grown, it is amazing. So I look at us as amazing. Look at your mother with new lens, new eyes. And don't wait for her to, like, I love you, baby, I love you. You know what? You have an auntie maybe next to you. You have a grandmother. It's not, one person can't do it all. Your mother's just one of the family members. It does take a whole village. This is a village. And everybody has wisdom. And so you have so much more now to give to your mother because maybe she has a deficiency.
Yes.
That you can bring to her. So it's just
A third eye is like,
I want to touch on what Queen said because you have to learn how to let go of expectations. Growing up, I didn't have a good relationship with my parents at all. For two reasons. One, they spoiled me, which was not the smartest thing to do. Never spoil your children, by the way. It's the worst thing because what you do is you set them up to not deal with reality in the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because the rest of the world is not going to be the way that your parents raised you. And at the end of the day, you also look at them with this eye of feeling like you're entitled to certain things. And when you don't get the things that you feel you're entitled to, whatever those things may be, it breeds resentment. And I had to grow up and grow out of it. Now I'm at a place where I can, like, it's so funny because my niece is in the back right there. She can actually testify over there. I'm at a place now, even when I was on vacation, I thought about my mother. And the only thing I can think about, oh my God, I want to pay for her to go on vacation. At one point, I'm like, I'm trying to pay for her to be shipped to the moon. It's driving me insane. You know, you get to a point in your life where you let go of those expectations and those, you know, the sense of entitlement. And understand, like Queen said, you don't know your mother's story. Your child won't know your story. Think about that. That's what you believe, but you're not going to tell about that dude that you didn't want to talk to, and you talked to anyway, and she ain't even know about. She ain't going to know about that. That's the same thing when you're dealing with your kids. You don't know what could have made that person, your mother, feel the way she feels. So there's going to be things that you're going to hide from your child that may affect how you interact with her. Same thing is with your mother. So if you could just learn to realize one thing, she chose to have you. That has, like I said earlier, that's a choice. Nobody forces you to have a child. So if she chose to have you, that means she loved you enough to bring you here. That right there is that's more powerful than anything in this world. Let the other bull crap go, unless you just want to be petty. There you go. Don't then let it go. There you go.
Can I say something? My relationship with my parents, I was born out of wedlock. You know, my parents broke up before I was even born. My mom was the strongest symbol I've ever seen in my life. My mom did it all. I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. She went to school full time and she worked full time, you know, and put us in the best school she could find in Long Island. And I grew up with my mom being the strongest symbol in my life, you know. She got married to a man that broke her, you know. So I watched my mom go from the strongest being in my life to the absolute weakest. You ever play the game Sims? You know, when they go in the house and they turn red, and then they go outside and they're green? That was me. I came in the house and I was red. I could not stand this man. I have seizures because of this man. Like, the anxiety in my household got so much that I broke. And I watched my mom literally become a slave to her marriage and to her man. She had kids for her man. Everything was about him. And I resented her for a long time, you know. I didn't want to talk to her. I just thought she was weak. I didn't need to say anything to her. And I had to realize as I got older, and I fell in love for the first time, that my mom is human. My mom was in love, and my mom did what she needed. You know, she did what she thought was right, and it wasn't. And I had to realize that she is only human, that she will grow from that, and that was her mistake, but she has to learn from it. I cannot take that on. Your mom had you, you know, sometimes she puts all of her pressures and everything that she wants onto you, but that's because she loves you enough that she sees the potential and your strength for you to carry on what she could not. You know, you don't have to resent her for that. You embrace her for that. You embrace her. My father, don't really have the greatest relationship with him, you know. I've been in New York City now for 3 weeks, and he just hit me up yesterday talking about, oh, how's everything? You need food? How's your rent? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I've been here for 3 weeks. What you mean? Rent's due in another 2 weeks. If I wasn't eating for 3 weeks, I'd be dead. Like, hello, you know? And I'm learning now that I need to forgive my father. I do. I need to have the conversation. I'm embarrassed to have the conversation because I know he's going to be embarrassed about how he's been acting my entire life. But I have to forgive him in order for me to move forward. Your relationship with your parents reflect the relationship you have with yourself and the people in your life. If you cannot forgive them, you cannot forgive yourself and anyone else that crosses your path. You have to forgive
I just wanted to say to the sister that we love you in here. Just know that. We love and appreciate that you are here. I love you from the bottom of my heart because you are a reflection of me. Now, I will break this down to the point that you are your own individual, meaning that your father and your mother has created you. And also, when it comes to the relationships have their ups and downs. But the thing is, you have to make sure that you are well. You cannot live everybody's life that is supposed to be supposedly in your realm. You cannot live their life. You can only live your life. So you have to take care of yourself. Like, for example, for me, on my aspect, my father, he has been locked up for the majority of my life. And for me, as a black man, as much as my mother can do, as her feminine aspect, I need that masculine aspect more than anything. And I had that from my uncle, and he died right in front of me. So we don't talk, we talk about generational wealth, you know, just economic literacy, things like that, but we don't really talk about generational trauma. We don't talk about these things. And this is the fact that when she was saying it, the sister, it's the hurt people factor. Listen, you can be passionate about people that can create life, but there's no genuine love and appreciation and care about that. Because we can have sex all day long, all night long, but the thing is, that is just a dopamine high. That is just a temporary relief and aspect. But we are actually hurting inside. This is why you have so many broken relationships, not because we don't know how to make, it's just that we are hurting ourselves as an individual. So going back to what I was saying, you as the individual, you have to take care of yourself. That's my
I have to like, can I sit?
Yes, go
can
ahead.
I
Sit
sit down?
down.
Can I sit down right here real quick? One thing I love about our event is how real it is, and the fact that every person on this panel, when it came to the whenever you first said to speak to your mother and speak to your father and forgive them, I was shook because you said it right after you gave energy and appreciation for me and what I'm doing. The one thing that my mate back there, he knows, is that I have daddy issues. And I've written about this several times. I've spoken about it. I've cried about it. And I love the fact that I can sit here and do the ugly cry in a room full of people, and half of you I've never even met in my life. So I really want to say thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for allowing us to not only heal you, but heal with you. We're here at the same time. And I needed to hear everything you guys said about those things. My father, I found out, my mother, I talked to my grandmother about a few weeks ago about the things that she went through. And she said, you know, baby, I don't want to tell you all this stuff. I said, you know, it's okay, I'm grown, I can take it. And I'm on the phone devastated, and I'm crying, trying not to cry with her. But in that moment, I realized, like Jasmine, like I'll call her my sis. She's not my blood sis, but I'll call her my sis for a reason. I have to heal my father issues. My father, I can use all kind of cuss words to explain the things and the incapabilities and the non-follow-throughs and the reasons why he can make me view him in a certain way. And lucky for me, I've always known that true love exists. I've never been so tainted by him, but I'm learning to own up to the reasons why I am the way I am in my relationships because of what I did not get from my father. I've learned that because of me not having that daddy energy, I search for my daddy in men. I literally call my mate daddy. And I'm not even afraid to admit that right now. I love being transparent about where I'm at in my healing. But what I'm realizing even more today is that my father was a human being, like you said. He just happened to create me in the moment he wasn't ready to be a father. He wasn't ready to take care of himself. And I have to be empathetic toward the fact that he was my father, that was a human being, that just happened to do these things. But he created me. So if I don't forgive him, then I'm going to keep holding on to him. And I just want to say thank you for everything you said. I had to sit down because I was shook the whole time while you guys were all speaking. Every single thing that everyone said hit home to my life, and that's why I really love the spaces to do this, because you never know what questions someone may ask that actually applies to you. Even if it does not directly apply, you haven't felt it, there's some nuance of something that someone is expressing or talking about or inquiring that you can actually learn from. So the point is that we're all here to learn from each other. It's not just us sitting up there in our chairs telling you what to do in healing and we're the authority of it. It's a cycle. We're all doing it together. We're all here with each other.
We're going to take 2 more questions.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I've interviewed hundreds of speakers, peoples throughout the last decade, and met some of the most brilliant brothers and sisters on the face of the earth. And it seems as though, been to countless spiritual conferences, it seems as though one of the hardest things to accomplish when I interview and I just analyze everybody that I come across is finding your true love or your soulmate. So I've seen people accomplish their financial goals, their career goals, their goals as far as their children, their goals as far as their health. I mean, they're as healthy as can be. They're damn near breatharian. When it comes to finding that love, that soulmate, I see a lot of lonely spiritual people, advanced people at that. So why does that seem to be the thing that kind of seems to be so difficult for everybody in this room?
We're going to bring it down.
Bring it down. Yes.
I think that
Great question, by the way.
I think that when you enter into a certain realm of spirituality with yourself, a lot of people on the outside of yourself can't match that energy or are scared or intimidated. It doesn't matter if my brother over here all the way at the end, high energy, spiritual realm, crazy. I don't even think I'm there. So if I was to get with him, would I match him? Probably not, And as much as I would want to be with him or he would want to be with me, we're not on the same level. I would still need to grow, and a lot of people don't realize that. You can be as spiritual as you want, but you still need to grow. You need to grow yourself, and you need to grow together. Relationships are supposed to be like this. They're not just supposed to go straight up. And a lot of people don't understand that. They want to grow together, be together all the time. A lot of spiritual people are alone because a lot of people just don't understand that. Also, a lot of spiritual people are just trying to find themselves, or they're so used to isolation and solitude that even being with another person, it just gets overwhelming in certain times, or we just don't even know how to express that level of physical love, of emotional love, because we're so invested in ourselves most of the time that it's hard to push that out onto someone else and for them to understand that, So at least for me, I feel like I've literally been single my entire life. It's crazy, honestly. I'm just I'm a great person. I don't understand why, and it's so hard to match other people. It really is. They could be cut from the same cloth, but still your life lessons, what you've gone through, their daddy issues, their mommy issues, their diet, it's not there, And I just learned that I had to be okay with being alone. And if I have to be alone for the rest of my life, I'm not physically alone. I'm surrounded by love, I'm surrounded by energy. But finding that romantic love, sometimes you just have to, give it to yourself. Or you just wait it out.
So I've been married to my wife right here. Come on, say your face. Yeah. Right. So We've been married for 20 years.
There you go.
I think at this point I can say a few things on that, right? So, okay, so I think what the key to finding the right partner is putting things on the table from the first date. You know, it's like kind of like when I met my wife, we went out to dinner. Okay, now some of you women might think I'm a jerk, but what I was doing was trying to figure out who I was sitting at the table with. Okay, so we went out to dinner, and the first thing I said, one of the first things I said to her was, and I was only playing, but I just said it to see what the response would be. I said, you know, when I go out to dinner with a woman, especially if it's her idea, she should have her half, right? She should have her half. And the first thing she said to me was, I don't need that from you. No, but honestly, the only reason why I said that was because I was in a position where I was making a certain amount of money. And a lot of the women I was dealing with were really just trying to get access. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing was to find out if this is a woman that wanted me to just pay for everything she owns, or if this was a woman that wanted to be my partner. Correct. You understand what I'm saying? So at this point, when she said, I don't need anything from you, it was kind of like a, okay, we're over step one. We're over step one. Step two. Okay, let's have dinner. I want you to come by my house and I want to cook for you. Come to your house? Yeah, I want you to come by. I want you to see who I am. I want you to see how I'm living. I want you to know everything about me before you go on another date with me. Okay? Come by. I cooked her a really nice meal. She was impressed. She liked my home. She thought it was clean and it looked nice. And things like this were the things that kind of laid down a certain foundation. Like, I'm not just trying to have sex with you. We laid, we never touched each other. We went to bed, woke up the next morning with full respect. Okay? When the time is right, the time is right. But the point I'm trying to make is, I had to make sure that I like her and I had to make sure that she liked me first. Okay? And that was the first thing. Everything else out the window. We got to see if we like each other. Then we have to lay the law down. What is it that you don't go for? So I know right now. And I'll let you know all the stuff I don't go for. And at the end of this conversation, if we both feel like this might not work out, then we just saved ourselves a lot of trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So the things that I don't go for, she was okay with. The things she don't go for, I was okay with. I said, I think I can do this. And she said, and then we was like, okay, let's live the rest of our lives together.
One of the things that I think that may be missing from this community, and I'm glad that Father Rich asked the question, is that we don't have the social settings for people of a certain kind of frequency and on a certain kind of path and of a certain kind of caliber to actually get together and to just meet, let alone combine. I mean, we're left with social media. We've been demoted as a people in our social interactions, especially in this community where, like I stated earlier, we begin to magnetize certain types of energies to us and repel certain other energies. But there's no real orientation set up. So a lot of us is just winging it. One of the things that I was able to do in one of my relationships when I was in Atlanta is I got a reading by a married couple who were a group of elders by the name of Sandra Frazier and Jerry Miller. And they broke out the pendulum, and they also broke out the cards, and they went spiritual with us. And what they told me and my mate at the time was that we were going to be together for a season. And there was a reason behind the season, because it was explained to me that was going to be my offset, that she was going to put me back together, but her journey and her purpose was bigger than me, vice versa, mine, that we were only together for a season, for us to put each other back together, and by doing such, she would be strong enough to continue her journey, and I would be strong enough to continue my journey. And at the end of the 6 months, when she dropped me, and I was like, what's that? Where did that come from? We just was on vacation. But we went back, we went back and got the reading by the elders, and they were like, they had to remind us, like, you were in your blissful stage, but one of the things that you didn't keep in mind was that we told you that this was seasonal and reasonable. So we agreed at that point that we had reached the end of our season. And I love that sister to this day. We're good friends, and still to this day, she's on her journey, I'm on her journey, and whatever we did in those 6 months was powerful enough to get me to where I'm here. So that's something that they don't teach in Roman antics. That's something that they don't teach in our Negro experience. That's something that they don't necessarily teach in hip hop. You feel me? They've given it other terms. You dig what I'm saying? So we need to go back to this whole village mentality. The fact that the elders were our coaches, it felt good because I felt like whenever things were going wrong, we still had them to go back to, and they were still there. They were responsible because, like this brother said, they have experience. So something that the elders and our mothers and fathers who, you know, we might not be in the best communications, that they could bring to the table, even if they're not together, is experience. They've been here longer than us. So they know certain things that we might not know. So we should begin to move a little bit like that. But I'm saying all of that to say that those of us that are promoters, we should hear the cries of the community that they're lonely and they want to meet their mates and they feel like they deserve it. I got sisters who are qualified and they're like, yo, where are our men? And I also know groups of brothers who they did the eternal work. They feel like they're qualified. They got their proverbial shit together. And they're like, yo, where is my mate? I'm not on this planet just to be by myself. You feel me? Me and the internet. Like, they want to you know. So we need to do that. We need to collectively put that together because after all of this healing is done, there should be some kind of bonding taking place, and these are the environments where the magic could take place. So yeah.
I have to skip over me only because I think all the things I probably would have said was just taken. You know. Relationship insurance. That's right. Got that RI. You know. When you have that RI, then you put yourself in environments where you know you probably don't have to use it. Quite often. And as like he said and she said. That's not he said, she said. That's not a whole other conversation. But like they said, it's really about putting yourself in environments where you can attract your reflection. If I know that I don't smoke and I don't drink and I don't do certain things and I'm a type of person, then I can't expect to find that in an environment that's foreign where that really doesn't lie at. Because I mean the chances are I probably won't go get it. You know, so I'm gonna be disappointed. So if you are an artsy person or you're a spiritual person, then go into environments where there are people like you. Chances are you're gonna have things in common, you know. And one of the building parts of a relationship is being able to have something in common with your mate. You know, if y'all fundamentally so different, then y'all probably have a lot of clashes. So, but they said the best thing's been taken already. So.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So you guys said so many things.
So many great things.
Everything that it goes back to self. I believe whenever it comes to attracting the proper mate, it really comes down to whether you love yourself, whether you're nourishing yourself, whether you're dating yourself. Everyone has a list, right? They have that list of what they want to make, right? Oh, we have this list. Well, whatever you want on this list to attract in a mate, my best teaching is to do it for yourself.
That's right.
And a lot of my friends, they make fun of me. They're like, you just got in a relationship. How are you getting in a relationship so fast? How are you in love so fast? Like, what is happening to you that you can attract love this fast? One, my own BS. I'm looking for daddy. So I'm going to get it. And I'm going to be real. But the other part about it is that I actually do believe in Prince Charming. I believe in fantasy. I believe in romance. I believe that I am able enough to attract a person that meets me. But at the same time, because of my own issues, I am searching for someone to replace the energy that I did not have. There was a point. I was actually getting to a point. I'm forgetting it right now. What was the point? There was a point. Self-love. So you wanna attract a mate, right? But then you're looking for someone to do all these things for you. You're looking for a mate to complete you. And I feel like you should do everything that you want your mate to do. Do it for yourself. I mean, you can't do every single thing. Where's my mate at? he's probably embarrassed. He's talking shit. Excuse my language. But you can't do everything. But make sure before you want to attract a partner, make sure every kind of energy you want that partner to give to you, whether it's financial energy, whether it's strength, whether it's whatever it is, sit back and take the time to attract it for yourself. Be those things for yourself. Because whenever you can go out and you can date yourself and you can be comfortable with being with yourself, being alone with self and everything around self, then the person that you attract most likely is on that same journey as you are. Most likely they love themselves. Most likely they're self-nourishing. Most likely they're doing all the things for yourself that you're doing for yourself that you want them to do for you, and they're doing the same things for them at the same time. And you attract each other. So really it comes down to being selfish and finding that energy that you want, not just relationships and romantic love, but people around you. What do you want to get from people? Well, whatever those things are, make sure you do those things yourself to attract it from other people.
I want to acknowledge that we have a new ancestor that has just entered into the ancestral realm today. Second woman, Ife, we lift you up in your family because the father of the family, he has made his transition today. What is his name?
Kenneth Joseph.
Can we just see him twice? Just chant him, lift him up and the family. Kenneth
Joseph. Kenneth Joseph.
Inhale. Kenneth Joseph. Thank you for being such a wonderful father to your children. They love you. They mourn for you. And again. Inhale, exhale. Kenneth Joseph. Loving our sister, Ife, and for her loving you and shedding her tears because she loved you so well. To her. They will have a powerful transformational journey. Give thanks. And I also say that because of the daughters, if your father only looked at you for a moment, I want to say thank you. You know, because sometimes if the father stays in the house, he might hurt you more. So you have to give thanks that he left when he did, because he was probably not able anyway at that time. And so when he comes 20 years later, he's afraid at that point to even speak to you. But when he comes because you cried and you prayed and everything else for your father to come, then open your heart and say, my dad is here, you know, whatever. And her sister was angered her father all her life, and then one day she finally met him, and he died a week later. You understand? So your gratitude has to enhance. One day you'll be a parent already. I just wanted to say that because we always think as parents we're just the best. I did this, you have a list. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did this, I did all that you did. And when the child grows up, they say, oh, but you know what? That time when I really needed you, you was not there. And you said, but I did all the other things. So if you are so grateful to your mother and father, then when it's your time and you're on the scales of my eye, your child will have mercy upon you. Can I just say that? I am a woman of experience. I've had 3 soulmates. And how I look at it all, it's all transformation. I don't look at it as a divorce, because they were all my lessons. And I thoroughly received my lessons. I studied them all because they're all me. So it's a self-study of myself. So in my analyzation of my own self, of what state of mind, what attitude, how was I thinking, what was I needing, what was I feeling void about, how was I eating, everything showed up in this being that I attracted and brought and grew. I created that relationship, and I analyzed all the stages of my life from myself, where I was that brought that relationship. So the last relationship, he's the love of my life. You say, how in the world? I mean, you look at the book, you say, oh my gosh, look how she's looking at him. And for his birthday, I did dance for him. But I danced for the whole nation because I love my whole nation. But also, you get to a certain point in your development that you get real about your next level. And our levels, we're both Garveyites, raised to be Garveyites. So it's about the people. So we did this and we did this, and 19 years doing this and study and grow together. But I don't really see it that way. Well, I don't really see it that way. We have tribunals. Well, I really don't see it that way, but I love you so much. But I don't really see it that way. But wait, I really don't see it that way. But this is how I see it. We were raised different, but we were raised the same. And when you get to that point of the crossroads, you might have to evaluate yourself and what you have to let go of now, and then what you have to embrace. So I have learned to transmute, and my whole spirit is love. My whole being is love. So it's not so much an individual, because I'm older too. It's not so much that it becomes an individual. Right now, when I see young women, I always pray for them. Don't worry, we're going to make you a mate. Don't worry about it. Because you actually do make your mate. But if you're angry at your father, if you're angry at your mother, you know what kind of mate you're going to have? That frequency. You have to change that frequency inside yourself in order to have that high frequency that you're seeking out. Otherwise, you're going to radiate, I don't trust, I'm angry, but you're so pretty, so lovely, so all together. But you radiate out this other stuff, and that's where the battlefield comes in. But I thought he wasn't, I thought she wasn't, all that. So we have a lot of healing to do. Well, see, that's why sacred women are sacred women. Because the women don't do our rites of passage. We miss that. We miss our rites of passage as the women, and we miss our rites of passage as the men. So the men have to huddle and get those men, pull those men in, right? And teach them from your experience. And the women have to huddle together and teach them so that they will not be broken when they see each other. And if we are a community and a village that we are building and growing, then when there's an issue, you have us to come to. And we will walk you and we will help you and we will show you the way to make it work. Okay, so we're going to work with each other and heal all our relations. So love your mother where she is and love your father. And your heart will no longer be broken. Because otherwise, daddy, this is not your daddy. This would be your mate.
I think the question you asked was specifically about, thank you for that beautiful, you know, I'm always hanging on to your every word. But I'm going to speak specifically to you asking about a specific and attaining a certain level. And you say that these people that you've studied and looked at and interviewed have attained a certain level, and it seems like they have a problem at that point when you get to a, you know, and you have attained all this spiritual success or enlightenment and knowledge and wisdom, and they have trouble attracting or having that divine mate. And I think that part of that is that when we're on that path, we're seeking and we're open, and our hearts are open and our spirit is open, and we know that we don't know, and we're seeking, and so we're really open. And then when we think we've arrived and we think we've gotten to a certain level, we start to have these absolute beliefs that lock us in now, and now we're stuck in this belief that I know what I know, and it's a little less humility because I know this and I've attained this certain level and I know. And I think it's our guru that says the one thing that freezes the human intellect is having an absolute belief system, because now we're no longer seeking and open, we're believing, and that's dangerous because we get into a pattern of belief and nobody can change that. So I think even in a level of relationship, some people get to that certain level, and it's a lot of it may be intellectual, as opposed, because sometimes we have a lot of book knowledge and we have a lot of head knowledge, and we can spew out these concepts and talk about, so we have this appearance of high-level spirituality, but we're closed off and stuck in an absolute belief, and we're not seeking anymore. So it becomes almost like we're in our ego now again, as opposed to where we were when we were humble seekers, just desiring to know more and get more and being open to people and frequency and love. And now we're here and we think we've arrived. And so I think that part of that then begins to close you off to being open and receptive to love and understanding that we don't know everything even if we're stuck in a set belief system that we don't know. And when we're seekers and open, we accept other people's imperfections and perspectives and tend to be more loving as opposed to if we get locked into this set of I have to have and this has to be this way, and thinking more about what are you bringing to the table instead of what do I have to offer you, how can I be of service to you, how can I offer love to you, and then that energy attracting someone else with the same spirit as opposed to what are you bringing me to the table. And a lot of us walk around with that when we so-called attain, and none of us have attained full enlightenment, or we wouldn't be sitting in this room. We still have work to do on this earth plane. And so we get to these levels and think, I have arrived and nobody can match me. And now you know, who's my mate? Because ain't nobody on my level. Well, that's the problem. So I think that the more that we elevate, the more we need to seek and continue to seek and always have that heart of seeking and not get stuck in these absolutes, and just being more open and open to love and understanding that too, that we don't own anybody or anything, that we don't, that our mates that we do when we find that divine counterpart, that they don't belong to us. Like, that's my man, it's my divine counterpart. No, he's still my that I'm calling him now, for lack of a better term, divine counterpart is his own man and his own person, and I don't own or control him. He can do whatever he wants to do. I get to decide if I want to deal with him. But he knows he can do whatever he wants to do. You understand what I'm saying? And the lesson in that is that we all are going to learn that lesson. And one of my teachers said that you're going to learn that now, or the maggots are going to give it to you. You don't own nobody. And I always add on to it and say the maggots or the fire, depending on how you decide to go about it. You get burned or you going in the ground. But you're going to get the lesson in that way. So
I have a quick question.
Hold on. Sure. Just hold it for a quick second. Let them two finish. He have to make a statement, and then I want to hear your question. Thank you, sweetheart.
I'm done.
I'm
Wow. I agree with you so fully. It's almost like I feel like my heart is like beating like into you. I don't know how this works, but I just feel you so fully. And something you said, yeah, absolutely. Something you said earlier, and I so believe this, is it takes discipline to not cross the line between sensuality and sexuality. And it's a very big deal to be comfortable in sensuality and enjoy it and experience it and be able to give it to many beings, and to be okay with the scariness of it, right? The vulnerability of it, without crossing into a place that takes away from you, right? Because when we give love, it doesn't take anything away from us. But when we give that kind of a union, sometimes we feel like we've lost something. So being okay in that sensual space with people in general, with love and loving people in general. A lot of times when we talk about soulmates, really, we're just regular everyday people who want to be loved and who want to love people. And we want to hug people, and we want to ask people what their dog's name is. We walk up to kids, we want to buy the person behind us a tea or a coffee, and we hold that in. And so we're tense and we're tight because we're not giving this love that we so deeply want to give. And so we live in this fear of loving. And so when we talk about isolation now, a lot of times we don't have to be isolated. A lot of times we decide on isolation because we're so afraid of sensuality. Us women, a lot of times, sensuality is frowned upon. I want to hold my best friend's hand when I walk down the street, but I don't know what people are going to think. My little sister, I want to hold her in bed so that she can cry in my arm and fall asleep, but I don't know if that's exactly right. Well, guess what? I just want to hold my sister. I just want to love my sister. I just want to pour out on the phone. And we don't pick up our phones the way we used to. We don't text back the way we used to. We don't even comment the way that we want to because we're afraid of sensuality. And we call it thirsty and thirst trapping when really it's love. That's all it is. So I think a beginning step to finding your soul mate is realizing how many mates there are that just want to walk this life with you, just want to rock out with you, and who just want to love on you, and who want to be loved, who want to be held, who want to be touched.
touched who want you to pay for their manicure. Do you know? So all I'm saying there is it's okay to love all the time. And your soulmate is going to be attracted to that love that you give. And he or she is going to reciprocate that love because they see you doing it already. You don't have to wait till you meet your soulmate to love.
Yes, yes. Woo. I'm so sorry. Before you say it, we just have to speed it up because we have to be
I'll make it quick. I'll make it quick. All of y'all did a fantastic job about explaining that, and I'm going to go with the brother's initial question. A lot of the reasons why that, you know, the elevated ones tend to be, you know, alone, things like that, is because, and we have to stop doing this, we feed into too many stereotypes. We do. And when I say we feed into too many stereotypes are just insecurities from other people that just put that stamp on you. And you can create your own stereotype for yourself, to the point that it's like this, you know what, nobody is worthy, or I don't see this person worthy of my aspect. And it's like this, when you feed into that, it becomes your reality. I'm very big on metaphysics, very big on metaphysics. And I learned that your thoughts become matter. It becomes matter. So when you actually feed into that particular label or that stereotype, guess what? You are actually repelling these potential soulmates that you're yearning for, that you're actually looking forward to. So my whole thing is this. You work on the positive aspect of you. Don't feed into the stereotypes of being like this. You know, nobody can get me, because I sit down with plenty of brothers who are successful as hell. I'm not even talking about on a financial aspect. When I hear these brothers actually be transparent and they are actually comfortable with their vulnerability, I'm like this, well, damn. I know some sisters that will make, oh my God, they'll make a home for you, brother. But the thing is, the reasons why we have this is because the brothers is like this. Yo, they're not out there, and it's like this. Who is saying that? But you. You're saying that. So you're actually feeding into the own manifestation of actually rejecting your potential soulmate. So I'm telling the black women who are out there who are actually ready to actually connect with the brother out there, there are black men who are working on themselves, who are actually taking the initiative to actually be better than their best, and they are looking for you. They are looking for you. And for my brothers who are thinking that sisters aren't out there, you see all these beautiful black women who are here, who are single, or who are out there that I talk to on a regular. They are out there. Stop feeding into the stereotypes that are out there.
They all y'all move. Y'all words are. We can't. I can't even make this stuff up. Brother Red Pill have an announcement, and then I have to take that sister question in the back, and then we have to. It has to be so quick because we have to really wrap this up soon.
Family, we have a special guest in the building tonight by way of our brother Nick Cannon. We have our brother Dr. G in the building, who is... We're going to be filming some segments for the documentary, the Sabi documentary. Nick Cannon specifically instructed Dr. G to come down here with the camera and to catch some of you beautiful people that have showed up today who could speak some words of either encouragement or what Dr. Sabi means to you, the movement, the mission, the missive and whatnot. I think the brother might be set up. We're gonna set up outside quickly to get people's, you know, just something real quick and whatnot. So that could be incorporated into the documentary. So that's what we wanted to say.
That's space, which is incredible. And y'all go out there. Either we can go outside, back there, or in the front on the revision. We gotta be out by 8 o'clock. 7:15. So if y'all, so if y'all want to start right now. So
She had one question.
I know.
Excuse me,
I did
brother.
get back on
Brother,
track. Yes, sir.
if you want, we can finish up here, and I could just wait outside so that.
Do you have all of that?
We have
no
one
problem
more
doing that.
performer. We have a
And
woman
yes,
here.
and we definitely gonna have her come in, and
Sis.
she's gonna bring some beautiful energy, some more beautiful
Yes,
energy to the space. So after we get this question, then you guys can do that, and then vendors love y'all. Y'all know I do.
Clean up.
But we got to start wrapping up. It's about that time. Okay.
Yes, so my question was in regards to the parent-child relationship. I'm the oldest girl in my family, and in Caribbean families that holds a lot of responsibility within the family. I try my best to keep my family together, including but limited to my parents who are not together anymore, but obviously they have me in common as well as my siblings. The problem is my father is highly narcissistic. And it is extremely difficult to have a relationship with him, even if I bow down and crawl to him. What would you recommend? Like, my whole life, I've been trying to prove to my father that I can be somebody. I beat every single odds that you can think of, including but not limited to being paralyzed at 19. I was a teen mom. Both of my kids are in college right now. I live on the water. I've done everything to prove to this man that I'm worthy, and it's not enough. And this is my dad. How do I move forward?
Allow him to be himself.
That's all
You
I've
have
been
to
doing.
allow him just to be who he is and not trying to shift him, make him anything more. Be grateful that, see, maybe some of what he is inspired you to make it happen.
Absolutely.
To break barriers. Because you're waiting for him to do all of this. You did a great job. I love what you're doing. The more that he would not do, the more you would be inspired. So you would take something adverse to something really positive and powerful. And no longer expect him to be anything other than who he is, and bless him. And just thank him from your own heart. You don't have to say, don't you understand? Just say thank you, Daddy. Give thanks. And that's it. Because he has done some things in his life that's great. Because look at you.
To you, sis, I would like to say that, like I said to this sister right here, you are your own individual. You have your own path. The only validation that should matters is yours. Period. And I know how it feels. I know how it feels. I know how it feels to the point that recently, make this short, my father came out of jail. Now, we have a good relationship, but it's more friendship than father and son. And a little bit within me, it would be like this, like, damn, Dad, was I ever worthy for you not to do the things that you were doing that put you in that predicament? But the thing is, I had to tell myself that he thought the things that he was doing, he thought it was the right thing to do at that point in time. He is his own individual. I am my own individual. And the only thing that validates me or things that are actually worth my acceptance is what I do for myself and what I accept for myself and what makes me smile, what makes me invigorated, what makes me passionate, and what makes me strive to be for myself and also the loved ones that I truly care for. Because the thing is, your validation actually gives you that energy. Now, if you're seeking everybody else's validation and they're not giving you that particular life, you're going to wind up killing yourself or being in a stagnant state. And how are you supposed to be there for the ones that you love and care for if you don't have that perpetual energy? That's for you. Your validation is your self-validation. That's the only thing that matters.
He's the only one that gets me because he's my father. I can care what anybody, I can care less what anybody else thinks. But as my father, he's the one that taught me to do this, do that, do that. And I did this, that, and that. And it wasn't good enough.
You gotta stop seeking his validation. You gotta let that go. He's
It's
not
not
God. I understand. He's
I
not God.
understand that, but there's
like,
a fine line when it's your parent.
It is, but you have to
It's
realize,
not,
like I
it's
said
not
to her,
really
your
necessarily
parents are human.
validation.
They're human.
They raised you.
I feel that.
They set the rules for you growing up. So in your mind, it's like a whole paradigm shift.
But they are not the end all need all. They are not God.
And that's
They make their
absolutely
mistakes
true.
just like that. His mistake is his ego. And
Absolutely.
his ego forced you to be as great as you can, if not more. And you have to accept that. He is not the end all need all in your life.
Right.
You can't keep trying to prove him wrong by what you're doing.
He's not going to change.
He's not.
He's not going to
He
change.
is who he is.
Yes.
Can I say something really, really quick? One is that people, if we, and I know it's difficult with the parent, but when we understand that people, this is a very hard concept for me to understand, but that people are only ever doing the best that they can at any given moment. So we think that, no, you could have did better and you shouldn't be doing that, but if they could, they would, regardless what it is, even if it's your own ego, whether it's your own stuff that you're dealing with, that you couldn't muster up. So when you have compassion that that's all that he can muster up to offer back to you, let that make a compassionate space in you to say, that's sad that that's all that my father, so that turns into, that's alchemically transmuted into more compassion and love for him. And then two, because our parents, we have these perception filters that are given to us by our parents, most of them before birth when we're in the womb. And a lot of times we have an issue, especially in our community, with seeking outside help. It's okay, there's therapies, there's a lot of therapies that help to go into the subconscious and to help remove some of those perception filters that have been put in, because a lot of this stuff is not, in your head you know what to do, and most of us in our heads always know what we need to do, but subconsciously is where that work needs to be done. So there's no shame in going to sit on somebody's couch that understands how to help remove those, if that's what it needs to be, so that you can walk in that fullness and not just think about it but work on a subconscious level. People a lot of times don't believe in hypnosis and things like that, but there's some practices on a psychological level that actually work. Even doing things when you go to sleep and you're just before you sleep and you're in that theta state, playing things in your head, listening to that you want to reinforce what you want, that gets down in your subconscious, because even if we know something in our head, but our subconscious and those perception filters are telling us something else, that's going to always override what your head knowledge knows. So it's fine, it's good. Go seek someone else outside that can help you on that level as well, if you feel like you need that. There's no shame in that too, because sometimes we want to pray everything away and think everything away and whatever. Sometimes we need to go sit on somebody's couch that has a working knowledge of psychological damage and issues and cellular damage and issues that have been done to us. And there's no shame in that.
Can I share something? Thank you all. No, I just wanted to speak. First, I wanted to say thank you. First, I wanted to say thank you for all of you, Majestic Beings, being here and sharing so much positivity and radiancy towards us. I personally started my journey about, we actually come here starting our journey, but taking it seriously, I would say 3 years ago. And I'm going to be very brief because I know we got to go. But I want to say to everybody in this room, both male and female, if you haven't looked into the Sacred Woman program or the Man Heal Thyself program, now is the time. And I'm not just saying that because, it's a program. No, you gave me the segue for that because you said, tune in to your subconscious. There's programs, there's therapies, there's this. The Sacred Woman program literally takes you through all those levels. Everything we just talked about. My mind was just like, there's this gateway, there's that gateway, there's this gateway. And you can hear us, we're all in here. The Sacred Women are in the building. That's the medicine of the planet
spot. You know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. But the truth is that work really, really has a lot of healing in it, and I'm just really grateful to be.
And she's gonna be fine. That sister's gonna be so fine. I saw your wig.
She's surrounded.
I saw.
And it's her birthday. It's her birthday.
It's her birthday.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Peace, everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna do a quick. Wait. Quick. For all the sisters, all the queens. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Supreme being. All this power, you see it. You don't have the technology. Check this grammatology. Telling time by astronomy. You can't figure this out. Just let it be. Hot planet seeds, extensions of me, atoms, neutrons, above and beyond. I'm the only one. Rewind in time, telepathy. You can't figure this out. Just let it be. Stretching your human mind just to understand my kind. Take a look at what's inside. All the divines and what aligns. These meteorites are precise. Cosmo, chemistry evaporating. All the zinc, a lunar basin. Comic nucleus. You ain't really onto this. Protostar defying gravity. You can't hold me up. I'm out of this world. You can't hold me up. I'm out of this world. I'm Earth. I'm your mother. You tired? You can't hold me up. I'm out of this world. One of many in the galaxy. Stars all surrounding me. You can't hold me up. I'm out of this world. Listen, this is what I was meant to do. Anybody tried to penetrate my heart, you couldn't get through. I am connected to the source and always will be. This is for you, you, and you. Thank you, sister. Thank you. I just want to say, everybody have a beautiful evening. Today is a day that I'm fasting. This is actually the month of Ramadan. So I came all the way out here from Jersey to just like share with you guys. And I haven't even broken my fast yet, so I haven't drank any water or food yet. Because I really just think that we need to connect as a group of people. We have so much to offer each other. And I'm here because I appreciate every last one of my people. And I learned so much throughout my journey, but I'm still here searching and wanting to know more from all the beautiful souls in this room. Thank you so much. I bless and thank
Sisters, can we charge her up on her fast?
all of them. Sacred women.
Sacred women, can we give her some raw myrrh?
Can we do that?
Rain!
Come. Then when you close out, say we must connect. Let's connect. Bring it back.
You didn't break your fast, but we're going to charge you up.
We're going to charge all of you up. Brother, take a deep breath in and exhale. Bring it back in. For some
Light.
She's filled up now.
Can we put our right hand down to send the energy to one another for everything we need? And the left hand is up, so then he just rolls it that way. Else is in the room. You know, I can't live without giving one
Sacred silence.
affirmation to the women, the silence, the healers. We have to say this for the women in this space. Because as we heal and elevate, our men will come into alignment. And as we heal and elevate, our mothers and fathers will love us more from their place of love. So we give thanks. Let's thank God. Call and respond to the women. When they ask with all your glow and all your beauty, as it was on the temple wall, and they ask you, who are you? You say this. Call and respond. We are the women.
We are the women
who lighten the darkness.
who lighten the darkness.
We have come to lighten the darkness.
We have come to lighten the darkness.
It is lightened.
It is lightened.
We have overcome the destroyers.
We have overcome the destroyers.
We are there for those who weep.
We are there for those who weep.
Sung down.
Sung down.
They looked upon us then.
They looked upon us then.
We are the women.
We are the women.
We are the healers.
We are the healers.